I love that.
I don't know what that bit was at the end. That just came up.
That was in your design workshop. You obviously found something, pressed a button, and it just came up.
Yeah, but didn't actually know how I'd done it. So I'm just going to say that I made that bit to come up at the end, Michelle. I don't know why. Anyway, you're Michelle, aren't you?
I'm Michelle Marshall.
I'm Keith Ellie. Welcome to Hair Talk.
And we are Hair Talk. And more.
And more.
And more. Much more.
Much more. Thank you for joining us here again on another live/not live, not live/live, not live/live, because we're all too busy in the salon at the moment. So we have pre-recorded this. However, it does mean you can still leave comments because we will get back to them probably about 3 a.m. when we're still awake thinking about that client that's coming in the morning. Goodness me.
And if you're listening on podcast, please reach out, join, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and join us over on Facebook page, Hair Talk and More. And yeah, there is more.
You're so much better at that. I think I forgot to do that on the last live/recording thing we did. I think I completely forgot to say subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Yeah, like I said, just use the comments bar down in the corner. I think what we're going to be talking about today is there's been loads of talk about it. Every single time I go onto Facebook at the moment, there's another comment about patch testing.
I don't know, you're probably the same as me, and everybody listening or watching is probably on so many different groups, probably more groups than we ever were before coronavirus. And as you said, every single group, there seems to be a question, a statement, a panic about patch testing and skin testing, or the do
you prefer patch test or skin test? Because I don't like the word patch test. I think it sounds really. This is just my opinion. It sounds a bit cheap to me. It's just
really not cheap.
Patch test. It's like skin test. I don't know. Patch. It's just a patch of what? Patch of grass. Patch on the top of your head where you're going bald. When you talk of patch on your clothing, what are you talking about when you talk patch? If it's a skin test, I know it's on the skin. Patch. Elbow patch. Where are you? Oh, yeah, patch testing. You're right, though. I mean, like I said, it's a really good point with the amount of groups that we're now on. I think that's got exponentially. That's got so much. That's grown so much over lockdown. So when you go onto Facebook, Instagram, things like that now, you're getting almost bombarded with 4 billion people's opinions or information they found somewhere, normally on Facebook, about what they should be doing.
Everybody's an expert.
Oh, of course.
But I just think that everybody, as you said, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's an expert. I think my feed is just full of groups and information. And for some people, how do you sift through all of that information and know what you're taking on board is actually one, correct, one going to actually is what you should be doing, and you're not just listening to somebody's opinion?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to get it out there right now. Not anything rude, just before, if you're listening online, it's not. I'm just going to get out the fact that if you use a particular. Did you say dongle?
I said it's not Keith's dongle. I'm having a problem. Dongle is actually what you go on the internet with. Just saying.
Michelle, no. I wish you could see this behind the scenes, because Michelle's got so many different words for different things that mean nothing to do with whatever it is she's talking about. It's brilliant.
And I probably irritate a lot of people, but thankfully I don't irritate Keith. So that's...
Oh, I love it. There's always a new word you come up with. It's fantastic. I mean, straight out from the start, if there's a particular brand you use, your brand will always tell you what you have to do. And if you want to get... I believe that if you want to get your cover legally, then you have to do what the manufacturer is telling you what to do. And as long as you follow that, I think you're okay. And that's my advice I'd give to anybody off the cuff is to, if you're unsure, don't listen to Sandra on Facebook, who's got an opinion on it, or Daniel, who's got an opinion on it on Twitter about what you should and shouldn't be doing. Go direct to your product company and find out directly from them, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm covered by insurance when I'm doing hair color? And they will tell you.
Yeah. And there was a whole, I don't know whether you saw it, and, people watching or listening may have seen it. There was a whole thing about, yes, but the manufacturer said this, but if you open the box, it tells you this. And there was like 100 comments on, have you opened the box? What does it say on the box? Well, I think they're lying. I'm sure they're lying. They're telling me this and they're telling me that. And I was just a bit taken aback by the level of boredom people must have been to actually be truly commenting on this. And I think I commented on one because I'd had enough, and I just said, look, guys, phone your insurance, phone the manufacturer. What they say is what you should be doing. Like you said, they're not making it up. They don't make this shit up. They have a duty of care to the people that they sell products to.
And I think the other big thing that gets me with this, especially because it's, coronavirus is the big thing everyone's talking about. And because we've got coronavirus, we've got to skin test. Well, if you're saying that, then every time somebody has a flu vaccine, you should be skin testing after that, which is true. There's lots of things that happen throughout the year where people, if you get, look at me, I've covered in tattoos, but if you have a tattoo done, or a client has a tattoo done, they need to be skin tested. If you're using a new product within a brand of a house, so L'Oreal, Redken, and they've brought out you need to re-skin test for that particular product. So, whether people have been doing that or not each time before COVID, I don't know. However, like I said, listen to your product company, listen to your insurance company, and that's all you need to listen to. You can get Colour Start. I mean, what your Colour Start, the sticky, again, if you're listening online, Colour Start's a company that they provide like a generic skin test that you can send out. I mean, in that respect, it's quite good because you can post it out to clients and it's a bit like the old bubblegum stickers from years ago. So those of you that are our age, used to go to a shop, a sweet shop it used to be called, and you could buy these bubble gums and it'd have like a little tattoo thing that you could then put some water on it and you could put it onto your skin and it would stay on your skin. And this is very, very similar to that. So it's a transfer that stays on your skin but gives you some sort of if you've got any reaction to colour, it's supposed to show it. But I know I've got some views on that. What are your views on that, Michelle?
Well, I think I remember probably maybe 12 years ago buying some Colour Start to try it because we had some customers or guests that live too far away to come in for a skin test. So we would post those out to them. But the actual life expectancy of this box was very short. So I can't remember how much it cost at the time for a box. It was like 80 quid. It was expensive for a box of them. And I think we used about 5. You used 4 or more than I did when I bought a box. It may well have come. I don't know what the cost is of them now. It may well have come down in price. There's actually some information that on another group that I saw on the same skin testing thing. People were saying, panicking about getting Colour Start. Apparently, there are only certain insurance companies that will insure Colour Start for a start, because the insurance company says follow your manufacturer's instructions, and the manufacturers we know that in the colour is not just PPD, it's whatever else is the colour is made up from, and you can have an allergy to any of those ingredients. So the Colour Start is just PPD. So if your manufacturer uses a different PPD, you know, there's, I can't remember, there's PPD, there's a few.
Well, PPD's in every single colour that's manufactured, whether it's tattoo ink, clothing, whatever, it's in absolutely everything. So if you've got a reaction to that, then you're going to have, it doesn't matter what colour you put on your hair, you're going to get a reaction to it. If you don't, however, have a reaction to it, like you said, you might be another ingredient, because there's hundreds of ingredients in these products that you may be allergic to.
And, you know, then you could fall into deep water. You've done your colour start, they've come into the salon, you've put the colour on, and they still have a reaction. Where do you stand with your insurance?
But Michelle, I've got them to sign a waiver, is what I've been hearing a lot.
Well, unfortunately, we know the waiver isn't worth the paper it's written on. If somebody has an anaphylaxis shock, I'm not sure their relatives will go for the waiver above suing you for millions of pounds.
Yeah. And I think the reason why the reason why that is, just for those that may well have done that in the past or are thinking about doing it, is that it's because both parties know that there's a risk.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So as a hairdresser, if you know there's a risk, then you've got a duty of care not to take that risk unless you've done the proper precautionary, you know, manufacturer's instructions skin test. If you're using a colour start, you get them to sign something, then you know there could be an ingredient in your product that could cause a reaction, which means you're not being colour safe in regards to your client's welfare. And you know, still signing a bit of paper doesn't really mean anything. Like Michelle said, it's and I think again that's something you can check with your product companies, because we're saying this, we might be way off the mark. So let's get a allegedly in there just in case. All right. Yeah. Apparently. Apparently. So yeah, just check your manufacturer. Say, using Colour Start, is that something that I would be covered under your insurance, and see what they say. But in my experience, I'm pretty sure, and sounding, you know, for you as well, Michelle, that it is something that they want you to use their product on that client's hair to find out whether or not they've got a reaction.
And Colour Start also have come up with something else, and I'm not dissing them, because if that's something you use and your insurance company covers it and it's something you're comfortable with, everybody's got their own right to make their own decisions. So, you know, please know that myself and Keith are not trying to diss any product out there. We're just giving our opinion on what we would do as salon owners on our customers that come in the chair, and we would follow our manufacturer's instructions. However, Colour Start, I notice again on these groups that Colour Start have come up with something. They've taken those regular little skin test things, they've taken them off. They've rebranded for this year, and they're now charging £15 per skin test.
15 quid?
Yeah.
15. Right, okay. Why is that then?
Because I think it's a temporary tattoo that lasts longer. I don't know whether it lasts for a couple of years or lasts for a year. Okay. But I don't know. I know I phoned up, I don't know about you, but I phoned up our insurance company just to ask them, not about Colour Start, but to ask them about, can I just double check? There's been so much talk. I said, what about coronavirus? Do I have to re-skin test everybody? No. There's nothing in your policy that says anything about that. You just have to follow your manufacturer's instructions. If it's been longer than 6 months since you've coloured their hair, if they've used anything else since you saw them last, nothing to do with coronavirus being a criteria for making somebody more susceptible or less susceptible to getting a reaction. As you said, if that was the case, then we'd be skin testing after flu vaccines.
Yeah, well, I think, that's one of the things, you think about that and other medical procedures and things that people have. Any time where your body's fighting an infection, you could be more liable, or not liable, isn't the word, susceptible to getting some sort of reaction because your immune system's already working on one thing. And that's often why skin testing is done, especially those clients have been having it done for donkey's years. It may just mean that your body's trying to sort out one thing, and then you put a color on it again, and then suddenly you have a reaction to that color. It's because your body's just got more and more heightened to it. And that's often why people have reactions to things maybe after years and years and years of using one thing, is just that their body gets to a point where it's sort of almost overloaded, and then it reacts. So it's important to skin test. I think that's the main thing anyway. Like you said, every 6 months, for manufacturers, it might be different for different manufacturers as well. So just double check that with your manufacturers when you're looking at skin testing. But yeah, duty of care is a really big thing, and certainly, asking your clients about how they are, what it is they've been up to, what they're doing, have they coloured their hair? Again, going back after lockdown, have you found that in regards to, because Michelle, for those that don't know, Michelle's over in Wales. They've been back a little bit sooner than us in the UK, or I say UK, that puts us all back together again, doesn't it? In England, it's slightly different. So, we're going back on the 12th. But how's it been? Have people held off from using box colour? So skin testing hasn't been an issue, or how has it been?
Well, we've just taken it that we've skin tested everybody, because if they have been messing around at home, and often, not that people want to not say that they have or haven't, but even things like, we know that our manufacturer, and again, depends on the manufacturer, but I'm sure most of them are quite blanket across the board. Even if you use a coloured shampoo or what you think is like a little toning sachet, that all will break your skin testing protocol that you've got with your stylist or colorist, or if you're a stylist with your client. So, anything that they've done potentially they need to get re-skin tested. So we just took the stance it's easier just to re-skin test everybody, just as a blanket thing. It's not been easy, but we have just done it. But I've gone over to JotNote, which, for those of you who don't know, is a online form creator. And then you create this form. You can get a free account, but I've chosen to pay because we needed so many different forms. You create your own form. The forms, then the link sits on an iPad in your notes section, and you click on that link and it takes you to the form. You fill it in with your guest or your clients. They sign and submit and date it, and it goes into your emails or in your chosen email account. So you've got a record that when you do the skin test, if you want to go digital and not have lots of pieces of paper, we just ask the questions. Has it been longer than 6 months since your colour? Have you had a tattoo? Is there anything you've become allergic to? Have you had any sensitivities? All of the, like Keith said, all of the duty of care questions that you would normally ask somebody, to make sure that you're not putting something on that they could potentially have. There's something that we've always done, like yourself, is something that is just part and parcel. We've made it more aware, I guess, is that it's a tick box, yes or no. If it's a yes, skin test needed. If it's a no, carry on with the service. And then the last one is, I declare that the information I've provided is as truthful as to the best of my knowledge. Tick, sign, date, submit. So we followed our duty of care. It's not a disclaimer, but we've just proof that we've asked the questions.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a good point, because I don't know, I think we can often get into that real, I haven't seen you for ages. How you been? Don't have the kids, have the family. Like we do. We just have a chat. We like chatting to people, and sometimes those things can be forgotten about or not talked about. So to have something that's written down, especially like I said on that, is it JotNote? You said? Yeah,
JotNote, and we've just got it on iPads.
Well, maybe we'll stick that in the comments as well, because that's just I hadn't heard of that, and I think it sounds like a really good idea, just to ensure that it keeps you up to speed with when clients have actually had their skin test done, and it gets them thinking about. I think one of the things we've certainly noticed with skin testing is we've actually had clients approaching us going, "Oh, should you be skin testing us? I've read online that you should be." Again, getting them information maybe not from the best source, and then believing that they're having to have skin tests done. It's certainly, trying to make that clear to everybody. And I think it's difficult maybe for those that are on their own, they haven't got anybody else to ask, that you want to put that question out there. But certainly know for the future that, like I said, it's always go to your manufacturer first, rather than maybe going straight to Facebook, because it's, as soon as you post something out there, lots of people have got different opinions on what's the right and wrong thing to do. And opinions, won't hold up in a court of law, whereas if you go to your manufacturer, it will do. So,
it's not just opinions, is it? It's interpretation of the information.
Yeah, I mean, I've a bit similar to you. I know you do get to a point when you're reading these things, you're thinking, oh, for God's sake, I'm going to say something. I mean, a couple of times, I don't think forward to those jokey text things. When you get the text that's written out, then it gets deleted, and then they write down something else that's a bit nicer. Well, the amount of times I've written out a message to say, stop listening to Deborah from such and such. She hasn't got a bloody clue what she's going on about. And just had to rephrase and go, be careful where you're getting information from. But it's, maybe it's, maybe that's something the product companies need to be doing. Your L'Oreal's, your Wellers, as a company brand, come out and say, if you do things this way round, then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, for those guys, because that would save a lot of questions being asked, I suppose, if the manufacturers to actually come out and go, if you follow manufacturers' instructions, you'll be fine.
But the best laugh is on the Facebook group that I can't remember which one, Hairdressers Helping Hair, one of them, people were posting what their manufacturers had said, and people were still saying, I wouldn't believe that, because they say on their box of colour you have to have a skin test. No. It was really, and people were posting screenshots of their, of what Weller, what L'Oreal, what Goldwell, what all of them had sent them. And so I reached out to Redken and one of the team from education. What, is there a change? Has things changed? No, just follow the traffic light book that you've always had. That's what we recommend. So for those of you who are maybe under the L'Oreal umbrella or the Redken umbrella, they have a similar protocol, even if you're Matrix or any of the brands underneath the umbrella, to follow the traffic light book that you already would have had, which are all the questions myself and Keith are talking about. And as long as you follow that every single time you see somebody, and this isn't because of COVID, this is every time you see somebody to put a colour on, if you ask them the series of 4 or 5 questions before you put it on, you've done your duty of care.
I think that's the thing. This is, I think, for a lot of people, this is hopefully it'll get us, those hairdressers that maybe haven't been doing it as much as they should have been doing it. It'll just get a good practice going out for the whole the whole industry, where everybody's just asking those questions as we should be doing anyway, rather than, oh my God, it's COVID, we need to make sure we're doing these questions, and help us all just maintain that professional duty of care that we have with regards to our clients coming in and their health and well-being, and giving a professional service. So it's certainly something that, yes, it can drive you to distraction, listening and watching these things, but hopefully, as an industry, we'll just do it like you said, Michelle. It'll be something that we just, those of us that are doing it already, great. Those of us that maybe aren't, it might be something that it's not, we might be, we have to be doing it. It's not a might, there's no may or may not. So we will be doing it going forward from this. And it's a really good point.
Out of interest, do you and Louise I'll ask the questions each time, excuse me, because I've said what
Yeah, well, Louise, she'll ask the question. I cut hair. Louise does the colouring side for me. And Louise, I'm going to get a slight offshoot from this as well. She treats every single client as a new client as they come in. So she doesn't have colour notes every time somebody comes in, it's like, well, we're starting from wherever we are now to wherever we want to be or whatever we want to do next. So, there's no sort of colour note. So that's, in some respects, it's quite a good way of encompassing the whole thing of, ensuring that your client's safe. Is like, okay, I'm approaching this as a new colour, so I'll approach it as a new client each time. Therefore, I will ask the questions and then I'll go on to do the colour. And for some people, that might be like, oh my God, I need my colour notes. However, if you've been doing it long enough, like Louise has, if you're doing it a few years and you've got the experience, you don't need colour notes. You'll be able to look and be able to tell what those colours are. So,
that's great. That's a great bit of advice. And anyone who's listening, if you want more information on that, please reach out. If you're listening or watching, please drop it in the comments or reach out to us, because we can give you more information on Louise's methodology. I'm sure she'll come and join us one time. And
well, I'm going to drag her on. She's a bit shy, bless her. I'll get her on, definitely.
Yeah. But even if it's a bit like, for those of you that may have watched it, the show that's on the BBC, which we were both likening our show to, with Michael Sheen and what's his name? We can't even remember his name now. Doctor Who, ex-Doctor Who.
I can't think now. It's gone.
But if anybody can think of what that's called,
put that in the comment. Help us out.
It's called Stage. Pop it in the comments if anyone can think of that, and please drop anything in the comments. Our episode is almost coming to a close, but please, drop anything in the comments. We'll answer them. As Keith said, this may not be alive, but it is a recording, and it will be broadcast onto all of our platforms, and we'll be able to give you any advice or help that you may need.
That's it really, isn't it? It's, we're here to help out, and hopefully over this last sort of half an hour, you guys have got something from it. If the main thing from me is that, if anything, you're not listening to Facebook, you're just going straight to your manufacturer to get that information. Anything else you want to add, Michelle?
And just, as Keith said, go to your manufacturer, go to your insurance, make it part of your process that you do, and it's just what you do, rather than it being a big dilemma.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, dilemma is. I think you've summed up every single Facebook post that's been going on. It's like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
And it's terrifying for some people, but it shouldn't be terrifying. It should just be what we do. As Keith said, let's raise the bar on our profession and not make it an industry, but make it a professional profession.
Oh, I love it. And that's a good place. Michelle, that's a brilliant place to end it on.
Professional profession. Take care.
Take care, guys. Take care.
Bye.